to the North Carolina Medical Society Spotlight. I'm your host, Ann Forrest. Today we have two very special guests with us, Lindsey Rose and Helen Powell. Lindsey and Helen are both medical students at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and we're thrilled to learn a little bit more about both of them. Lindsey, Helen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So let's start with learning a little bit more about both of you. So tell us a little bit more about your background. Where'd you go up? Where'd you do your undergraduate studies?
Born in Burlington, grew up there, went to Williams High School in Burlington, one of Burlington's 3 or 4 public high schools, and then graduated, went to UNC Chapel Hill for undergrad, majored in biology with a minor in chemistry, and then graduated in 2014 and stayed on immediately for med school at UNC. And so I have been in North Carolina my whole life. I love it. I've stayed for a reason. And just in terms of deciding I wanted to go to med school, I decided that at a pretty early age, probably sometime in middle school. And so it's just been an honor for me to be able to stay in my home state and train as a physician.
What about you?
So I am originally from Minnesota, and then went to undergrad in Wisconsin at University of Wisconsin-Madison. And I figured out during college that I wanted to pursue medicine. However, my last year was actually rejected from all the programs I applied to, but had applied to Teach for America as well, just kind of on a whim. Came down here and I taught 5th grade science and social studies in Rocky Mount for a couple years, and seeing the health issues that the students and the faculty and the community endured really promoted me to pursue medicine, to go back to that dream. And so I got into UNC, and I know, I'm so excited. That's one of the good things about now being a North Carolina resident.
Right.
But so throughout medical school, so I was supposed to graduate in 2016. Unfortunately, in January of that year, so just a few months before graduation, I had a skiing accident, wound up with a T7, T8 spinal cord injury, therefore the wheelchair. And so I have had 2 extra years to complete medicine, and I'm still planning on going into family medicine, and just finished up all of my interviews. So got to figure out my rank list now.
So both of you are here today because you're in our Leadership College program. How did you hear about Leadership College?
Yeah, so I heard about it from a friend of mine, and also she's been kind of like a mentor to me throughout the years. She's 2 years ahead of me in this medical training process. So yeah, I just really thought that it would be a wonderful kind of complementary experience to my MPH year. So that's how I heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
I also heard from a friend who did the program a few years ago, and she had nothing but amazing things to say about it. And one thing that I've come to understand is that physicians are constantly being thrown into these leadership positions, but not necessarily having the skills to be able to do so. And especially with being interested in underserved, rural care, the physician a lot of times in that community is the leader. They're the one that everyone turns to. And I felt that I needed to be better prepared for that. And so,
is there anything else that you're hoping to get out of the Leadership College experience for you to utilize when you do become a practicing physician?
Yeah, for me, I think historically and to this day, I see myself in the future being primarily a clinician and seeing patients, but I also know now more than ever there's this push and need for physicians to play more of a leadership role. And so one of the big draws for me is kind of learning how I in the future can extend my roles and duties as a physician outside of clinic walls, beyond clinic walls, to kind of serve my patient population and also the greater community that I'll be practicing in. This is a wonderful networking opportunity for me as a young physician or physician to be. I'm meeting people even in the field that I hope to pursue, being dermatology.
The other thing for me that has become big is advocacy. And one thing that greatly intrigued me about the Leadership College was the White Coat Wednesday. An opportunity to actually go and speak with your legislatures. I think it's I think physicians are required to advocate for their patients and make sure that their voices are heard.
Well, I'm very excited about the future of medicine, hearing these two responses, especially on the future of medicine here in North Carolina, since you both want to stay. So thank you both so much for being with us today and taking a little time out of your day so we can learn a little bit more about both of you. Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.